one of the easiest ways to stump an AI expert is to ask them this question: what is intelligence? So, Kez, you've been studying and working with AI for over 30 years. What is intelligence?
Look, that is such an important question. I don't think I realized how important it was. So back in the day when I was working on neural networks and genetic algorithms and parallel computation, look, this was before this idea of deep learning. This is before even data science and machine learning became prevalent, right? This was something I was obsessed with, which was like, how can I get a computer to think like a human? This idea of artificial intelligence like really captured my heart, and it was my research back in the day. But guess what? It wasn't until much later when I started realizing that finding ways of using technology to augment us and make us actually better at our jobs was actually a much harder problem to solve than the AI piece of it. So we're going to be touching on that later. But this concept of what is intelligence is so central to this. We have a lot of biases when it comes to intelligence. So whether it's, do the IQ test, what is your IQ? This idea of like, if you're really high IQ, you must be really, really smart. We don't really have a great grasp. As much as the amount of research is out there on intelligence, I actually think there's actually a better set of mental models to be able to think through this.
Well, and one of the things that you've studied in addition to AI and technology and brains for so many decades are in fact games. One of the fascinating things that you've pointed out is that humans throughout our history have created games to help us push further and further the capabilities of our intelligence. And one of the most beautiful expressions of this, I think, in a game that has been around for thousands of years is the game of Go. So what, Kez, does Lee Sedol, the Go champion, ninth Dan, I don't even know what that means totally, but what does Lee Sedol tell us about intelligence?
So Lee Sedol, ninth Dan at this game of Go. As you said, Scott, this is the idea that we keep inventing games at the edges of our capabilities. And Go is one of the most complex games out there. Lee Sedol, who is pretty much one of the best players in the world at the most complex games humans have created, which probably puts him at the top of what it means to be intelligent. Guess what, though? 2016, he played against DeepMind's AlphaGo, and he lost. This was a huge upset, not only for him, but also for a lot of people who really believed that we were so far away from having intelligent machines. And this was really the start of this acceleration. Going back to the complexity, like if you think about how complex chess is versus Go is so many orders of magnitude harder. So this idea of not only that a machine had got to this point. So the AI research I was doing, I was building neural networks, or what is now called deep learning, to make a chess move analyzer. And even then, back in the early 90s, I had to focus on the end game because we just didn't have enough computing power. The computers I was using is actually less powerful than the AirPods that I have most of the time in my ears. The idea of how much data would need, the algorithms, all of these things weren't even there yet. So to see Go, a much more complex game, be dominated by this new AI from DeepMind was, it was earth-shattering to me, but earth-shattering to a lot of people who started really questioning what is intelligence. So here's the smartest person on the planet, or is he, being defeated by AI. So this led me back to go, hang on a minute, do we really understand what intelligence is?
And there's a couple of different kinds that you've talked about for a number of years. And it's fascinating to me that you hear these same terms being used for AI and not just human intelligence. So what is the difference when we're talking about what is intelligence? What is the difference here between narrow and broad? And here's Lee Sedol kind of on the towards the bottom left of this chart, of this 2x2. Help me understand this and help folks understand the difference between narrow and broad intelligence.
Look, narrow and broad intelligence. Actually, so in the AI community and the technology community, they talk about narrow intelligence and general intelligence. So this idea of narrow and general intelligence. So unpacking that a little bit and mapping it to how people are intelligence helped me sort of start mapping out like what it is to actually be intelligent, right? So like you say, Lee Sedol is in this sort of very deep in this column. his deep knowledge about Go, of this most complex game, one of the most complex games we've ever invented, and he's one of the top players. Like, yeah, he's really smart. But what it means to be narrowly intelligent is the fact that Lee Sedol, if asked to play chess, he probably wouldn't be that much better than the average chess player. So even though he's the top Go player, his brain is honed and trained and modeled for Go. When it comes to this idea of more broad intelligence, you start having to think about, people like Maya Angelou, and you start thinking about some of the things that Einstein did or Claude Shannon. Like, they went broader on topics like, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the ability to what she understood about law, what she had to understand about society, what she had to understand to become one of these chief justices is far greater in the breadth of knowledge. So this starts touching on this idea of general intelligence. Let's go to Bill Gates. Bill Gates, when he started out, he's the founder of Microsoft, co-founder of Microsoft. He was a programmer as a kid. He was one of the best programmers out there at the earliest ages of computing. He started the software revolution with Microsoft. But guess what? It wasn't until he retired. We really saw the full power of what Bill Gates can do. Because one of the things he's been doing, along with his charities, is trying to take on some of the gnarliest problems they are in the world. Whether it's pandemics, whether it's clean water, whether it's mosquitoes, whether it's disease, whether it's polio, all of these things. He started working with some of the top scientists, researchers, innovators, actually building these things. And to do that, he goes deep into a topic. He reads it deeply, understands it to a level. So he's been going after topic after topic after topic. He's so well read. He's nearly the definition of well read. And this starts giving you an idea of what it means to be not only narrow and deep, but to be deep and broad. This idea of being able to solve problems. So let's go back to general intelligence. What does it mean to be generally intelligent? It isn't just that you can do a really complex task really, really well. It is the fact that you can solve problems which you've never seen before. And this is what I believe is where we're starting to go with augmented intelligence.